Assalamualaikum everybody. Today me and my group is going to represent about communication barriers in the workplace. My name is Nurul Muiz.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhaimin bin Mahmud.
Hello and Assalamualaikum. I'm Syazana binti, and without further ado, let's jump into the video. Shall we?
Communication is the conveyance of flow of ideas and from one person to another. The exchange of information takes place through letters, words, symbols, and non-verbal behaviors. It involves the transmission of ideas from sender to receiver. Communication is effective if only the receiver fully understands the transmitted information. Many problems and failures occur in organizations due to poor communication. Objectives and goals fail due to misunderstandings in the organization. Effective communication provides a chain of understanding to all participants. In the organization framework, it promotes the flow of information both vertically and horizontally.
Barriers to communication refers to obstacles that ideas and messages face before reaching the receiver. Language barriers occur when the receiver does not fully understand information conveyed by the sender. This occurs in the workplace when orders and instructions pass to the employees and employees fail to understand what the actual message and how they should respond. Dabrin argues insiders but not outsiders understand technical or professional jargon language. Language barrier can occur in all levels of the organization, not necessarily between the top and bottom. Emotional barriers occur if the message is not appealing to the receiver. It may arouse emotion and feelings that may lead to misunderstanding and misinterpretation. Proper interpretation of the message depends in the mood of the receiver prior to receiving the message. Emotional barriers usually arise due to lack of self-confidence and competence in one's professions.
Poor communication skill cause communication barriers because the receiver cannot construe the ideas conveyed by the sender. Poor articulation of message by the sender will not facilitate a proper understanding on the side of the receiver. If the sender perceives that the receiver will not understand the message, the communication will not be successful because the sender will end up sabotaging the effort to make the points clear. Communication barriers may emerge due to information overload. When a recipient receives too many information than he can handle, information will undergo distortion and misinterpretation. In the workplace, managers may receive a lot of information from top and bottom levels of the organization, and they require quick reply or feedback. The pressure and load of message will lead to misinterpretation and distortion of the intended information.
Interpersonal barriers may occur due to low self-esteem on the side of receiver, leading to a misinterpretation of the messages. The relationship that exists between the sender and the receiver will also affect the interpretation of the message. If the receiver is not in good terms with the sender of the message, proper interpretation of the message is unlikely to occur. If the subordinates have a poor relationship with the management, information from management to subordinate may not be effective. Insufficient non-verbal communication can lead to communication barriers. Messages become convincing and easy to understand when non-verbal communication is at present. The non-verbal expression will facilitate understanding of the message in the workplace. Channel barriers are evident when communication takes place through media such as mouth-of-mouth, phones, emails, and faxes. In the case of the phone or email, the sender may lead to a wrong interpretation of the message. If the receiver is not a good listener, misinterpretation of important information may occur.
A good manager uses various methods to avoid communication barriers in the organization and ensure information distortions and misinterpretation do not occur. Active listening ensures the receiver gets the right information, avoiding impulsive judgments and asking questions at the end of the message ensure the receiver gets the right information. According to the brain, policies and objective of the organization should be clear to all employees and a proper common training for all employees to enhance effective communication. A common business language or a jargon can enhance understanding. Proper media selection and a two-way communication on that seeks clarification ensure there are no misunderstandings. Simple messages should be made orally or in meetings where employees can seek clarification. W notes that dialogues reduce misunderstanding by communication feeling as well as the intended facts.
A manager should prioritize the activities in the workplace. Having enough time with the subordinates and listening to them can reduce overload and provide feedback immediately. Understanding the receiver helps to formulate a proper way of conveying information to them. It is crucial to use simple language that is clear to everyone in the workplace. Using ambiguous and unnecessary jargons may lead to misunderstanding and information distortion. A manager should elicit verbal or non-verbal indicators that show acceptance and understanding of the information. A manager should avoid sending or interpret incoming message when emotionally distracted. Emotions can distort the transference of meanings and rationally in sending or receiving information.
An awareness of these barriers in the first step of dealing with them is being alert to culture differences such as values, attitudes, and etiquette that will help one overcome the communication barriers between cultures. It is important to be sensitive to non-verbal communication techniques of the new culture to accept. Some non-verbal forms of communication will not be acceptable in other cultures, or they send different information. It is also vital to show respect and respect to all participants in the workplace, regardless of the position on the organization. Respect helps to promote cross-cultural differences and reduce communication barriers. An individual can communicate their cultural beliefs, but in a manner that does not to intend to show they are superior, or using a straightforward language, speaking slowly and pronouncing all words clearly to help overcome those kind of barriers.
The language a speaker is using may not be clear to the new environment. It may help an interpreter convey the right message by putting the words clearly. People in the new environment may also not be clear with the accent. Therefore, a straightforward language may help reduce communication barriers. A person can also look for signs of misunderstanding, especially when the language of the message is not the native language of the receivers. Universal nonverbal signs such as nodding the head to show acceptance can reflect to an understanding of the message. Inappropriate laughter or lack of questions after a communications may indicate a lack of understanding. It is also appropriate to use the native language if the speaker can use that language appropriately. An individual in a new culture should avoid diversity created by accent, grammar, or personal appearance from the native. Improper dressing may elicit communication barrier between the speaker and the receivers of the information. A speaker should be keen on the norms of the new culture.
In today's generations, firms are expanding their businesses all over the world. Employees have to communicate to clients from different cultures, which get challenging sometimes. Also, these days, firms are diversifying their workplace from cultural perspective. People from different ethnic backgrounds are required to create diversity within employees. Cultural barrier at workplace is invisible barrier. To address the cultural gaps between employees and to creating awareness among employees about different culture is itself a challenge. No doubt, cross-cultural communication barrier in international organization is common problem, and it takes a lot for an organization to eliminate that. If the problem is not addressed, it can result in unpleasant consequences. These research papers aim to answer questions related to common workplace problems, cross-cultural barriers in multicultural workplace settings. Aside from that, this paper will analyze and review some previous and exciting studies on this topic and also illustrate the contraction between these studies. In the end of the paper, recommended action or best practice to address this common workplace problem will also be listed.
A cross-cultural communication where people belonging to a diverse being in a communication with each other needs to be effective, and in order to avoid any disagreements and conflicts, and in turn to achieve the business objectives. In order to make cross-cultural communication effective, a firm has to understand the barriers involved in cross-cultural communications. Working in multicultural workplace involves a lot of challenges, disagreements and conflicts, and all cultural differences at workplace takes place due to different values, norms, gender, ethnicity, and behaviors of the employees in the multicultural team. These days, companies are struggling to bridge the gap between the employees who are from different cultures. They encourage employees through special training programs which give them exposure to other cultures and create awareness.
In the world of globalization, the most common cross-cultural barrier in an organization is language. Overall, previous studies suggest that language is more than just a communication tool, but previous literature is silent about the effect of language barrier in multicultural society, especially in multicultural work environment. Aside from that, behavioral differences among employees can also cause misunderstanding. Over the past decades, there has been an increase in research on workplace conflict and its management, both internationally and at an interdisciplinary level, mainly due to cross-cultural differences. The cross-cultural conflicts or differences at workplaces have therefore been researched from different angle and disciplinary perspective, such as psychology, behavioral science, sociology, communication, health science, and anthropology. Despite the increase in the numbers of concept and definition of cultural conflicts, there is no comprehensive definition of cross-cultural conflict and its theory in the general.
Contradiction between previous and exciting studies. In today's organizations, a global mindset is crucial no matter where an employee is located. In the past, an organization's leaders, managers, and employees needed to understand a culture if they were going to another country to live. Now, employees work virtually cross-border via technology. They work with a variety of ethnicities at home, and they interact with a global dispersed customer base. So a global mindset and skill are necessary for all employees. The findings of the previous and exciting studies provide further evidence of the importance of cultural competences for individual and organization, effectiveness, and for the creation and maintenance of social capital in the multicultural settings at workplace.
To have an effective cross-cultural communication and overcome this barrier at the workplace, we can take advantage to listen 10 strategies below. If an organization finds solutions and strategies that works best for them to overcome the cross-cultural barrier, it can really help them to do business on the global level. Employees must be open-minded to learn about the client's culture and few key phrases. It also great, and one must be different culture, having knowledge about clients or other employees' culture can also help. One must be pretty open to new things, rather creating cultural boundaries. Having great multicultural workplace can really increase their productivities in the employees. Organization must give cross-cultural knowledge training, language training, and enforce mutual benefit policy for all the employees at the workplace. Organization should focus on creating a friendly multicultural environment for the employees. Top-level management must strive hard to build the universal culture at the workplace where there is no difference in employees' culture and opinion.
There is no doubt that the cultural diversity contributes a lot to the organization's success. And in the current world of global economy, the workplaces are becoming more ethically diversified and impacting a lot on the organization's global mission. It is hard for an organization to balance societal and corporate culture, so as per existing studies, it seems organizations are striving really hard to overcome the cross-culture barrier. Organizations' HR department can really help to succeed the organization in their global mission and international projects, as they can help bridge the cross-culture gap if HR recruit the people from different ethnic backgrounds.